Welcome to this session, and which we're going to deal with coordination of research. And I will take a little time to introduce you to where package A is, the problems that we have, what we plan to do, and how I hope we will engage you in trying to tackle this problem. Now, of course, the mission that we have is daunting. We've been asked to develop a concerted approach for coordination of one side of research, which amount to around 1.5 billion euros from all funding sources across Europe by 2013. Of course, this is a daunting task, and even though we consider it to be impossible, we would try to, in some way, to devise procedures to develop a concerted approach, at least to, in some way, coordinate research in a few selected areas, as I will show you. Now, why is this needed? I think it's very timely to talk about coordination, because cancer is one of the major health issues that affect our society, and the situation is set to worsen globally as the population ages. In fact, cancer is increasing globally. In 2008, 12.4 million, there were 12.4 million new cancer patients, and in 2030, one expects 20 million new cancer patients. 12.9 million deaths are expected in 2030 as compared to 8.3 in 2008, and incredibly, in 2030, there will be 82 million patients living with cancer as compared to 28 million in 2008. So this is actually a major problem. So what is the challenge? And I think the challenge for us is how to more efficiently translate better understanding of cancer into better outcomes. And I think we haven't been very efficient here. And this is mainly because we have had problems which in some way have created a research paradox, which is the fact that all the time, due to the new technologies, we have achieved a better understanding of cancer. So there are many advances in basic cancer research, yet the translation of discoveries into the clinic for concrete benefit for patients has been very slow. So there is a problem. We produce a lot of data, but I think most of this is not translating to benefit for the patients. So why is this so? And I think after looking at all the problems that we have, there are many barriers. Some of them already being looked at by the Eurocan Plus grant some years ago. And I think we have three main barriers which we have to deal with, and this is the reason why we haven't advanced as much as we would like. First of all, we have biological barriers. The intrinsic complexity of cancer is daunting. The histology, the molecular composition, pathways. Cancer is not a single disease, but many diseases, and it is something that we become increasingly aware of. Then there are structural barriers, which are very important. The fragmentations, which was brought up by the Eurocamp Plus. There is fragmentation in research, clinical care, funding. And then, of course, we have political barriers, which I think is the lack of common vision at the European level as to how to fight the disease. Now, at the political level, at the vision level, of course, we don't really have the critical mass of expertise, of resources. We don't use them in a better way. We also have the problem that we're trying to solve long-term problems with short-term solutions. We also have lack of sustainability. We start many things, but we are not very good at sustaining them, making sure that they really see the end of it. We also have a lack of participation of the scientific community in policy making, and I think this is very important. In some way, we need to find a better balance between top-down initiatives and bottom-up initiatives. I think scientific community should be involved in feeding policymakers with new ideas and visions. And then, of course, I think one of the main problems that we haven't really addressed here is the fact that research is the competence of the European Union, while health is not. And I think this is very important for a disease like cancer that goes all the way from cancer research, basic research, towards treatment and care. And I think in some way we need to work together to make sure that DG Research and DG Sanko will cooperate, and that will research ministries and health ministries to be able to solve this major problem. So at the funding level, which is very relevant of the topic of this session, of course we do have different priorities and funding for cancer research, which are set at national, local and regional level. We have different approaches. Different countries use different approaches, financial resources and infrastructures. We have different requirements, goals and restrictions from funding organizations. And then, of course, we lack instruments to secure sustainability of long-term actions. And I think this, of course, especially if you are in an area where perhaps personalized medicine would be a high priority, we need to find an answer to sustainability, especially on infrastructures. So what is needed? At least if we look at the sort of research we should do, provided that the funding is there, I think we need to improve coordination and collaboration in cancer research across Europe. We need to identify gaps within the cancer continuum, and I think we need to look at all the way from basic research to behavioral and health service research. We need to take all of it in account and, of course, increase attention to areas where further research is needed. Now, when we started with this, with the partnership, of course, the ideas were very clear, but as we move on, the Innovation Union came in. And, of course, together with the Innovation Union, of course, it would be a next framework program, which whatever name it's going to have, in some way within the theme health challenge, most likely personalized medicine would be a priority. So we need in some way to tune up where we want to go. So in some way the partnership, what we will do in coordination has to take in consideration what the next framework program would look like. And I think we are very sort of active trying to identify these priorities so that we can bring them into our table. So who are we in Work Package 8? First of all, ECHO, the European Cancer Organization, we are co-leaders of the Work Package together with INCA, the Institut National du Cancer. We also have associate partners, the Institut Superiore di Sanità, the Instituto de Salud Carlos III, and the Centro Superior de Investigación en Salud Pública in Valencia. So we are very few for this incredible task, and I think the only time will tell whether we'll be able to succeed in the way that the partnership wants. Now, why ECHO? Why are we involved into? Now, ECHO, I think, exists to uphold the right of European cancer patients to the best possible treatment and care, and to promote interaction between all organizations involved in cancer research, education, treatment and care at the European level. Now, ECHO provides the unified voice of European societies representing professionals in oncology and proactively engage with policymakers in driving oncopolicy in Europe. Our idea is to make sure that that cancer remains at the top of agenda of policymakers. And then ECHO, through its 24 member organization, which represent about 60,000 plus professionals in oncology, it is the only multidisciplinary and multi-professional organization that connects and responds to all stakeholders in oncology Europe-wide. Now, the organizations of ECHO are listed here, and I must say also ECHO runs a multidisciplinary congress every 2 years where we also have the possibility to bring policy issues close to the scientists, because I think the main problem for us has been the fact that the scientific community has not been very keen on participating in science policy issues. Now, what are the Work Package 8 specific objectives? Now, of course, we will bring together member state and associate countries, NGOs, patient organizations, industry, and other stakeholders in the cancer continuum to identify and prioritize areas in cancer research across the continuum that will benefit from coordination. We will try to develop a concerted approach for coordination of one set of research from all funding sources by 2013 in selected areas. I think if we can do this with a few areas and we can develop a procedure, then I think other things will happen in due course. And then, of course, implement pilot projects of research coordination in selected areas. And I think this does not look so complicated as it does to do all of this in all areas in Europe. Now, we have, of course, been working for a couple of months now and to see how we're going to start. And we have decided to make a questionnaire to begin with. We would like to go in consultation with the scientific community and the patients. We would like to identify areas of cancer research that would benefit from collaboration at European level, and that appropriate instrument to fund collaborative research. Now, the target is the scientific community, the industry, and the patients. I think this is a very important questionnaire because it will give us an idea of what the scientific community is thinking on, how we should tackle cancer in partnership by giving ideas to how areas of research will benefit from the coordination. Once this is done, a second questionnaire setting out the recommended areas and instruments for research will be given to the funders, being those industry, other bodies, and to be able to identify which one of these areas the member states will be able to coordinate and whether they do have the instruments that are required to go that way. Now, I must say that we do have a timeline for the first 9 months. As a matter of fact, we have a timeline for the whole period of it. But this, of course, would all depend on the first steps because of the fact that we need to feed information to the funders as to what the scientific community see as a vision for where we want to go as how to fight cancer. Now, we are in the process of drafting the questionnaire, which I hope we will be able to send within the next month and a half or so. Then there will be an analysis of the questionnaires, and then based on the results of that, a second questionnaire will be made so that we can feed in the funders and get the answers about whether there is anything there where we can work together. So actually, by month 14, that I mean next year, we should be able to have the outcome of these questionnaires, and then of course identify member states that would like to participate and have areas where they would like to see coordination. Then of course we will have workshops in between, and I guess by month 33 we should be able to end up with a few areas where we have identified willingness from the member states and funders to be able to go on with that. Now obviously there is a lot of preparation meetings in between, and I think very much of this will require engagement by not only ourselves, but I think we need the help not only of the scientific community, but we need the help of the funders. We need the help of the member states, the Commission, who actually put in these questions to us. It is important that they help us to identify those funders that would in some way make sure that this happens. Obviously, the situation is a difficult situation. It's a daunting problem that we have to deal with, but I believe that we will do everything that is possible to make sure that society at large in the near future will benefit from the benefits of cancer sciences. And I think with these words I would like to stop and introduce our next speaker, which is Fabien Calvo. And I would Fabien is Deputy General Director of the National Cancer Institute in France. He's also the Director of the Cancer Multi-Institution Alliance that includes the INSERM, CNRS, the universities, and universities hospitals in France. He would also give us a little vision on how he sees the coordination both at national and at international level.
Thank you, Julio. Good afternoon, everybody. I have the same title as Julio, but I'll try not to be repetitive. So, to prepare this talk, I came back to the text, the initial text about EPAC, Cooperation and Coordination in Cancer Research, that was issued in June 2009, and I could pick up some sentences which are the main focus of today. A comprehensive cancer approach should include all aspects of cancer research, from prevention to translation and clinical research. EU should support the discovery and development of better medicines, including cancer therapies, and of clinical trials facilities, biobanking, to pave the way for a more harmonized European framework. So if you allow me, I will come back to what I know, which is the French Cancer Plan, which has been launched in 2009 and which will be going on up to 2013. There are some flagship measures for research, and I have extracted some of them. Increase resources for multidisciplinary research, accredit 5 multidisciplinary cancer research integrated sites. These sites should help to transfer scientific research to patients, to patient care more quickly. Increase the patient participation into clinical trials by 50%. Believe me, this is an impressive goal because I have to do it. And the other measure was to define environmental and behavioral risks. And the measure 6 was to produce and communicate information on cancer and cancer research and treatment on an annual basis. So as you can see, we have very common goal from one cancer plan in one country and what is expected from EPAC. So I would like to come back to what we have been doing during the last 2 years in France according to this cancer plan. Participation of patients into clinical trials, I believe, is really fighting against inequities in care access. So we have labeled and funded 16 early phase clinical research centers in 2010. We are funding each year 60 to 70 academic clinical research trials. And I would like to focus and emphasize in the one aspect, which is a collaborative action on new drug trials under the US NCI CTEP program. That is probably something we could launch and work on it at the European level. And we also believe that there should be some direct interactions of the clinical people with pharma through our EPAC. What have we been doing with the NCI? I mean, we are participating to a program called CTEP. There are about 6 to 8 calls each year. The pharma provide to the NCI drugs, new drugs, and these drugs are dedicated to clinical research where the pharma should not be involved. So it's fully academic trials, and it's sponsored by public system. So France is now participating to these calls. We have been applying on the last 6 calls. For each call we had one project which has been accepted, and INCA is sponsoring these trials. And these trials are performed in these centers I've talked about just before. I mean, these 16 centers for clinical trials. To develop translational research, what we have been, you have heard this morning about comprehensive cancer centers, but we are in the way of identifying and funding 5 comprehensive cancer centers. This has been started recently, and the first publication of the centers will be made publicly available in the next 15 days. We are funding each year 15 to 20 projects on translational research, and we have also tried to develop on a bilateral way on shared project with DKFZ in Germany, and within CERN some partnership on specific labs. We have one INSERM lab in Heidelberg, and there will be this year 2 labs in France, one in Marseille, one in Lyon, which will be DKFZ labs in France. We are also actively participating to the Transcan ERANET, but Maria Ferrantini will talk about that later on. And we have been starting on this aspect to try to involve the vet schools in the study of spontaneous tumor models. And this includes the biology, clinical trials on animals, and really translational research from genomics to clinical biology and biomarkers. So what should be our future actions? I really believe that there are several countries in Europe which are following this path of funding comprehensive cancer centers, and really the existence of a network of these clinical comprehensive cancer centers should be something which should be very good in terms of facilitating exchange programs and collaboration. I also believe that since we have started this type of collaboration with vet schools from France and vet schools from UK through the NCRI, there should be probably a way to extend these approaches to other countries in Europe. 5 multidisciplinary cancer research sites. Their goals are to conduct integrated research programs and to disseminate research results. That they were chosen according to the coherence of in the integration, the programmation of integrated research activities, ability to react to the emergence of new concept, initiation and development of national and international collaboration, and the commitment to transfer research results with economic development partners, and finally the ability to disseminate new knowledge and practices to professionals and patients, and to involve them into research, including clinical trials. We have been working hard on international collaboration and networking. I would like to talk about 2 aspects: International Cancer Genome Consortium and the ICRP. We have talked before on that. And INCA is a member of the International Cancer Research Portfolio, which gives us a wonderful tool to analyze research which is performed in the world and to compare with each other. About the International Cancer Genome Consortium, INCA has been a founding member of ICGC, and we represent France at its executive committee. And I also wanted to let you know that there is also an international human epigenomic consortium for which has been created, and we also participate for the cancer part of this consortium. To give you an example of what this consortium aims to is to really analyze the genomes of 50 different tumors. For each tumor type, there should be at least 500 tumors to be sequenced and analyzed. And some countries have decided to be involved, as you can see here. Germany has focused on brain carcinoma. They are joining us on prostate cancer. You see Australia, Canada, China, Spain, who has been doing very beautiful work on chronic lymphocytic leukemia. France is involved in 3 tumors: breast cancers, liver cancers, and prostate cancers. And we are participating to a common European program, the BASIS program, in coordination with other European countries. So as you can see here, this is really the sharing of a big project between a consortium, and we really hope, and there seems to be a lot of arguments for that we are progressing really very quickly in the identification of crucial events in specific cancers. I've talked to you about our interest in dogs in relation to human clinical oncology. We believe that this should be something which should share also together. As you can see here, there are some specific tumors which appears in some specific breeds in dogs. You see histiocytic sarcoma. Don't ask me to tell you the name of the specific dogs because I'm not an expert, but you can recognize them. Melanoma is also a specific tumor for specific dogs, as well as osteosarcoma, glioma, and lymphomas. So it's obviously a very interesting genetic model. It's very intriguing in terms of progressing into the knowledge of prognostic marker, therapeutic targets, functional annotations of genes, discovering new genes, new pathways, and apply that to the translation to humans. So it's also, and I would like to focus on that, it's also a very interesting model because it's a preclinical model for humans, especially for therapy in human medicine and vet medicine. So we had some initiative on these spontaneous models of cancer. We have dedicated a call for proposals. We are interfacing, as I told you, with UK clinical and vets research teams, and we are sponsoring a dedicated workshop in November 2011 at the NCRI conference, which include the development of new tools and antibody screening. And really we believe that EU should really support, and through this EPAC we could set up something on these specific aspects. So there are some recurrent questions. What is the and I'm not going to give you the answers, but that's the goal of this meeting. What is the benefit of multilateral cooperation versus bilateral? Are the priorities perception common for all European countries? Does the coherence between programs allow space for originality? And is there a space for emerging countries outside Europe into these programs? So we will have to answer these questions, obviously. And in conclusion, I would like to insist on some opportunities in Europe for us, for the EPAC program. I've listed some of them: to develop the integration of cooperative groups at the European level. This is essential for large clinical trials, especially in rare disease, rare cancers. Share a common vision to develop academic clinical trials. And as I've presented you the project with the NCI, I believe that it's time now to set up a similar program in Europe. We have started to do that in France, and we would be more than happy that we could enlarge this program. And this is obviously a proposal to answer the EPAC recommendations. Increase the quality and visibility of clinical research to be attractive for pharmas, to give a chance to their drugs to be developed in rare tumors or tumors that they don't really want to address. Also, as you have seen, to develop common research programs on all type of omics and data analysis at the European level. And I would like to end up with saying that some countries have done more than others on prevention research and social science research. And they should be showing the path. And I'm thinking especially on the countries in the Northern Europe. And we will have to share their experience with the southern parts or the eastern part of Europe. Thank you very much.